Hello from Browns Bay. It's Thursday and it's the 3rd of September, and it's been a while since we caught up like this. A lot has happened in the meantime, and between lockdowns that go up and down to various levels, people facing crises, loved ones who are ill, and then people die. Well, there's a lot to deal with. Dying is one of the things we don't talk about. It's surprising, really, when you consider how many people have died during this pandemic. But we don't talk about it generally, not over supper, not at a social, not at tea after church. We don't say to people, well, how do you feel about your mortality today? Um, but it's something we just have to face. It's one of the things that we're not exempt from. As much as we deny it, it will come our way, and we have to accept it. I think to become fully human. I don't want us to be focusing on the sad and the depressing all the time. But in the face of our mortality, we have to have a look at the issue. One of the things that helps is to plan your own funeral or memorial service. It sounds a bit odd for some, but how would you want people to celebrate your life? It's not a bad thing. It also puts your family out of their misery trying to figure out what you'd like when you write it down somewhere and let them know beforehand. But we do need to talk about more than the funeral. We should really talk about the issue, and what happens, and what we're expecting, and why we're afraid, and what mourning and grief is about, and why it's so hard to adjust to a new life without someone who has passed away. The trauma, the loss, and the ways of coping, all those things are important to prepare for, just as important as financial things and wills and the disposal of people's property. Christians are not afraid of death. We may fear dying, we may be afraid of the pain or the challenge of the physical process, but we also may be afraid of leaving loved ones behind. But we're also afraid of not knowing what it'll be like, what the journey will be like. But our faith has a lot to say about this ultimate journey. Paul in Philippians 1 at verse 21 says, "For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain." Jesus also says in John 14, "In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, I would have told you, and I'm going to prepare a place for you." Christian faith is all about assurance. The hymn Blessed Assurance is an example of that. There's a promise, a guarantee, a pledge that we have eternal life, and we don't have to be afraid. Nothing can separate us from the love of God, says Paul in Romans 8. Not death, not life, angels or demons, or all kinds of other things that might do that. So, as you face perhaps the loss of a loved one at this time, or as you face your own mortality, uh, remember his promises. Remember the truth of the scriptures, that our faith is about eternal life, that knowing God now means knowing God in the future, that nothing separates us from his love. May you be comforted if you are mourning the loss of a loved one. May you find strength and peace and hope and assurance. But may we also be aware of our own mortality and make sure that we get things in order before it's too late. Well, have a lovely day. God bless you. And bye bye from Browns Bay. We'll see you again. Take care.